This is the PNGTV live news at 7 p.m. I'm Quintina Naime. An 8-year-old boy from Yapimpina village in the South Wiru LLG of Pangia passed away at the Mount Hagen Hospital last night after he was critically injured in the recent earthquake. This brings the total unofficial death toll to 23 following the 7.5 magnitude earthquake that struck the Highlands region in the early hours of Monday. To rise every day as some hard-hit areas are too remote with help still on the way. About 20 people in Pangia suffered minor injuries following the earthquake and were treated at their village aid posts. Ward Councillor Administration Officer for the South Wiru LLG, Nixon Kanema, tells PNGTV Live that the 4 local assessment teams that were sent out to the earthquake-prone areas are yet to return to Pangia Station due to the remoteness of the villages.
But permanent structure, semi-permanent bush metal house, yes, some are affected, but the rest like our own data system. You have to compile the data and then we will exactly know how many houses were affected in an LLG area.
Kanema says they have been experiencing constant aftershocks in the past 3 days, with cracks now seen on the ground, and is afraid heavy rain can cause landslips. He says people living in the earthquake-prone areas need to be evacuated immediately, but they are yet to get aid assistance from the provincial government. He adds there is a need for awareness on the dangers and signs of earthquakes to be carried out in the area. Police will assist in relief efforts for earthquake-affected areas. Deputy Police Commissioner and Chief of Operations Jim Andrews says the constabulary will assist in whatever way it can to restore normalcy in earthquake-stricken provinces of Hela, Enga and Southern Highlands. Florida Gulaseni reports.
DCP Andrews says this while expressing his sympathy for families and victims of the earthquake, which he says to have claimed the lives of over 20 people and caused widespread destruction across these 3 provinces. Andrews reveals police in these 3 provinces are keeping a close eye on the relief efforts and will actively partake in all humanitarian aid activities in the affected places. He says he had sympathy for the people in Hela and Southern Highlands provinces, where police have recently introduced some community policing initiatives aimed to reducing crime and violence. The police chief says the death and destruction caused by the disaster is devastating, but the people can only find peace and comfort through prayer and divine intervention. He adds police in these 3 provinces are monitoring the aftermath closely, and they will provide a full report on the extent of the disaster to the Office of the Commissioner as and when information is available to them. Florida Gulaseni, PNGTV Live.
People throughout the country and abroad continue to express their sympathy and prayers to the victims of the devastating earthquake. Florida Gulaseni with more.
The 7.5 magnitude earthquake that hit the Southern Highlands region on the early hours of Monday morning, leaving over 50,000 people of the region devastated, properties and roads worth millions of kina damaged, and the government on spot with the economic challenges to do all they can to ensure the lives of the affected return to normalcy. This is one of the second biggest disasters to hit the country after the northern coast in 1998 was devastated by a tsunami generated by a magnitude of 7.0 quake, killing over 2,000 people. Since Monday, feeds on social media have been dominating the network with images surfacing every second by people on ground, showing graphic pictures of those people deceased and many suffering their loss of their loved ones and at the same time their homes and properties. What has happened has gained attention all over the world as messages flood in showing sympathy for the affected as the country works together with the government to bring back normalcy. The governor for NCD, Powes Pakop, had this message for the victims of the earthquake in Southern Highlands.
This natural catastrophe. It is not planned. and nobody is ready for it. And so the lives have been lost, and we all express our sympathy with our people there. We in the city, I want to assure the people there that as soon as we get advice from National Disaster Office in terms of relief effort, our team is ready. There are many volunteers who have approached me, and our own team are ready to mobilize the city to give whatever relief we can, whether it's in money or in clothes or food, or the city is here ready. This is our national capital. So we stand by every time to support our people, especially in this type of very tragic situation. We want to wish them all the best in their recovery.
Also from the Vatican City, a message was sent of prayerful solidarity and condolence from His Holiness Pope Francis. And I quote, "Informed of the tragic loss of life and the destruction of property caused by the earthquake in Papua New Guinea, His Holiness Pope Francis expresses his heartfelt solidarity with all those affected by the disaster. He prays especially for the eternal response of the deceased and for the healing of those injured. The Holy Father offers encouragement to the civil authorities and emergency personnel as they assist the victims of this tragedy, and he willingly invokes upon all of them the divine blessings of consolation and strength." Unquote. Florida Gulaseni, PNGTV Live.
The betel nut ban has been reintroduced in the nation's capital with the aim to manage the abuse of betel nut vending, chewing, and littering. City Governor Powes Parkop, supported by member for Northeast John Cowper and the NCDC management in a press conference today, reintroduced the partial betel nut ban. Florida Gulaseni reports.
Consistent with the decision to review the betel nut ban after the national general elections, Governor Parkop says they have concluded that a total ban is not the best way forward for the stakeholders in the city.
Our goal is not to stop people chewing or selling. That's not been our goal. It might be a consequential outcome of the goal. But our goal is, and let me make it very clear, to get our vendors, maybe the producers too, but importantly the chewers, to be responsible, to clean their act, to dispose of the rubbish in a proper way.
He added that the ban will be imposed immediately within the next few days in the Boroko City Center, where bins will be placed at all areas, and the COPS security guards will be deployed to work with our regular police officers to ensure positive outcomes are achieved.
Work on Boroko area, the business area, the center of the city. So if you like, we are starting this plan in the center of the city. So once we achieve that outcome, or we arrive at a situation where we are comfortable with what is happening in Boroko, then we will escalate it to other parts of the city.
Knowing such a ban will affect most of the vendors and especially the consumers of the betel nut, this is what some had to say.
In city like town, Boroko, main centers like Gordon's Market, West Place, we all from a boy skin, speed.
Me plus a sales too, but me plan to sell boy good lo Boroko. Boroko am rubbish pull up, can PPR pull up. Also market inside the city, so me plan to like it Boroko.
It's not really necessary to ban, but we need control.
Allow sale in.
Governor Parkop says when the trial at Boroko is achieved with positive outcomes, they will then proceed to other parts of the city. With hopes to achieve better results, he would like this message to reach everyone, and he also warned vendors and those who do not comply that they will be dealt with accordingly. Florida Gulaseni, PNGTV Live.
Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari has indicated that the support for the earthquake-hit provinces is at hand. However, the need for assessment of the devastation must be carried out before any of the external assistance can be utilized.
We're getting private sector support. There's also international pledges that are coming in. Australia is also sent word to the Prime Minister that they're ready to support with the relief organization. Similarly, we've also got a letter from the Prime Minister of New Zealand, whilst giving condolences, also pledged support. But at the moment, we don't know the magnitude of the damages. This is why we need a comprehensive assessment to be done.
You're watching PNGTV Live News. More after this break. Welcome back. You're watching PNGTV Live News. Papua New Guinea considers itself privileged to be part of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, corporate, or APEC. APEC Senior Official Meeting Chair Ivan Pomaliu highlights PNG's choice to host APEC is an important recognition that there's a lot that needs to be done. Pomaliu says through membership, benefits from APEC include having subscription to the general notion of an open economy in relation to configuring best practice policies. These policies resonate some of the conversations that come of APEC in terms of PNG's trade and investment policies. Pomaliu says PNG must ensure there is a level of playing field in our economy in relation to how we can facilitate the investments, as well as to talk about the general principles that exist. Those are important conversations and attitude that comes from being a member of APEC.
Even though you will find that policy configuration sort of sit independently, the important backdrop that sits at the back of our government's thinking when we formulate policies in trade and investments, in issues such as anti-corruption, in issues such as connectivity, infrastructure, institutions, people to people. These are issues that come off the APEC conversations and Papua New Guinea certainly over the last 10 years, even though we've been members in 1993, over the last 10 years have been particularly crucial in terms of formulating different work and policy going forward.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has come down hard on public service hierarchy regarding government spending. Speaking at the opening of the Leaders Summit today at the Crown Plaza Hotel, O'Neill told the audience of department heads to cut personal costs.
Unfortunately, we are probably under budgeting. Our bureaucrats need to sharpen their pencils in terms of the expenditure side of the equation. Every year we are seeing expenditure blowouts, particularly in personnel costs. This is unacceptable.
Prime Minister O'Neill highlights the current fiscal status of the country, stressing the need to control spending.
No country can afford to have such an increase in the expenditure levels that is unsustainable in the long term. Our medium term is to review all this. We are getting hard in trying to ensuring that the cost base for our economy and our country is under control.
The Prime Minister reaffirmed the government's new direction to broaden the economy that has so long been reliant on the mineral and oil and gas sector. The Leaders' three-day Leaders Summit brings in both government and private sector heads to review performances and carry out dialogue to help improve government policy performances and cooperation with businesses. With a 7.5 magnitude earthquake striking the 4 provinces of Southern Highlands, Hela, Enga, and Western, assessments are being privately conducted by the respective extractive industries operating in them. Oil Search Limited, in particular, released its safety assessment of its staff on each of its operations in the quake-hit areas. Kaligan Tanda reports.
Oil Search Managing Director Peter Botten confirms in a media release that all staff and contractors located at more than 20 of its operating sites have now been accounted for, and there have been no reports of any serious injuries. Botten says that due to the damage sustained to several of its campsites, And to also ensure the ongoing safety and welfare of its staff, Oil Search has commenced demobilizing all non-essential personnel to Port Moresby. The demobilizing exercise will continue over the next few days. Apart from this, the company is currently reviewing its wells, production facilities and other infrastructure. This is to establish whether there has been any material damage and what, if any, remedial work is required to ensure the integrity and safety of Oil Search assets. Botten states communities throughout the company's operational areas have also been impacted by the earthquake and are working with Oil Search Foundation and relevant government authorities to determine the extent of the impact and how they can assist. Quintina Naime, PNGTV Live.
Bank South Pacific has advised the recent earthquakes have affected the bank's operation at Tari, Como, Mendi, and Moro. The branches at these locations are now closed. BSP staff are safe, but as with other people in these communities, they have suffered damage to housing and personal items. BSP branches at Pogera, Wabeg, and Mount Hagen also experienced minor damage as a result of the earthquakes, but remain open. BSP sub-branches at Tambul, Pangia, Wapenamanda, and Yalibu also remain open. The management and staff are currently assessing the overall damage to the branches and equipment for appropriate repairs to be carried out and the reopening of branches affected. An 18-year-old student has been charged for production and consumption of homebrew. He was among 50 male students attending Gero Secondary School and Waigani Ford, believed to have been involved in a homebrew feast at Port Moresby on Saturday. They were apprehended at the Entity Valley bushes and taken in for questioning. Florida Gulaseni reports.
Waigani Police Station Commander Inspector Jerry Yawa confirmed today that out of the 39 police managed to apprehend, 38 of the students were released on Monday from Waigani Police Station. This follows interviews proving most of the students were innocent and were forced due to peer pressure.
Just because of peer pressure, intimidation, harassment, threats. So maybe they gave in. On that sense of understanding, I have to tell my officers to really get to the bottom and then interrogate individually. So that's what they did for the whole day, whole night, until Monday. They came up with one suspect.
The leader of the gang, an 18-year-old student from Gero Secondary School, remains in police custody and has been transferred to Boroko Police Station and charged.
He is basically he's charged for, there's other intentions, but we must have the proof to prove that he can be arrested and charged for other contributing offenses. But we've only dealing with him for production and consumption of homebrew.
Yawa wants students to stay away from such illegal activities and stay focused on school, and he further urged parents to carefully monitor their children at all times. He also warned principals of the schools to be aware of activities students are involved in. Principals must carry out disciplinary actions as soon as possible to warn students who may be involved to put a stop to such activities as it ruins the reputations of the school. Florida Gulaseni, PNGTV Live.
You're watching PNGTV Live News. More after this break. Welcome back. You're watching PNGTV Live News. To sporting news, with the Rugby League Digital Cup competition scheduled to start next month, local brewer SP Brewery has come on board as a platinum sponsor. PNG RFL Chairman Sandy Saka, while accepting the sponsorship today, acknowledged the ongoing partnership which has fostered the growth of the sport in the country over the years. Gregory Avira reports.
Known as the national sport, Rugby League continues to maintain a great following in the country. PNG RFL, following a restructure last year, now has a 6-tier system, from the junior leagues up to the semi-professional Digital Cup, and at the professional level with the recent inclusion of the SP PNG Antas program. The growth of the code, according to Chairman Chaka, has been good with continuous backing from sponsors such as SP Brewery.
As the semi-professional SP Intercity at the time transformed what was primarily an amateur sport into a semi-professional competition. It actually brought together a routine program through investment in training programs that compelled teams to get out of park football and start to play organized rugby league.
Today, Soda Brewer continuing its support through a sponsorship of 400,000 kina for this year's semi-professional national competition. Last year's success by the SP PNG Anthers in winning the Queensland Intrust Super Cup has brought much joy for the code and the country as a whole. Chaka says this success and level of professionalism at the top level must also trickle down, which he says can be achieved with good backing for the league.
With the introduction of the SP Anthers program, another dynamic visionary idea in partnership with PNGRFL and SP Brewery has changed from semi-professionalism to full-time professional rugby league. And the investments that SP and the PNGRFL continue to do in the partnership has actually seen the landscape of rugby league in PNG change.
SP Brewery Managing Director Stan Joyce, while wishing PNGRFL the best for this season, encouraged them to ensure the competition is played throughout the country so it lives up to its tag as a national competition.
It's in those centres that those franchises are based and where those games are played. So it brings rugby league alive, highest standard of competition in those centres, and a truly national competition.
Meantime, PNGRFL has set a tentative date of March 25th for the start of the Digital Cup, which will run till end of August. Gregoria Vera, PNGTV Live.
The second session of the Port Moresby Corporate Volleyball is now into round 4 of the competition, with just 13 more rounds before the finals. Florida Gulaseni reports.
President of the Port Moresby Corporate Volleyball Competition, Alfred Vaitai, says each weekend's competition sees teams coming in with new skills and techniques, seeing defeated teams perform to their best.
It's been good with the old teams from last season and the new teams coming in. They're also bringing in some experience and some skills as well. I think the level of game this season is going up. It's going towards finals too, so everybody's putting on going up the next gear.
Vaitai added that as the competition looks forward for its 5th round this coming weekend, the teams are claiming spots on the ladder.
We've got clear favourites at the moment for Pool A, BNBM and PMNEC. BNBM Team 1, they've got some good strike power from left to right with good setters. PMNEC, they've been a dark horse from last season. This season they're showing their worth.
This coming weekend's competition will see teams enter into the 5th round of the competition, and the teams are in for a battle as the level of competition rises.
Table for Pool A has changed depending on now on the next games. Though they are showing that they're clear favorites, the underdog teams are training hard and coming back and giving them a run for their money.
The finals will see the teams compete in separate pools in all 3 divisions for the Cup, Plate and Bowl, and after the 8th weekend of the competition. He further called on the interested corporate companies to show interest as they look forward to the upcoming 3rd season. Florida Gulaseni, PNGTV Live.
That's where we end the PNGTV Live News Bulletin. Up next, join Festus Maganap for Business Vector. For myself and the news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.